guys, it's Rose. Welcome back to Journeys in Time, and welcome if you are new. So I hope you enjoyed the little clip of the walk through my neighbourhood at the beginning of the video. That was taken actually a few weeks ago as I was walking home from work one day, and I noticed on my way home from work, not just that day but previously, I just wanted to show you guys in the video, but I had noticed it previously, that all along the way there are lots and lots of not just wildflowers but beautiful gardens as well, with some stunning plants. And I was noticing as well that they were kind of growing in the crevices of walls and things like that. We have a lot of nature around here, and I'm very fortunate, even though I live in a large enough town, large by Ireland standards. We do still have a lot of the flavour of the countryside and nature around here, so I was loving that, and I just thought you guys might like to see. But the results from that are that I went picking some flowers for pressing now, and leaves obviously. I started keeping them in this little book. Little did I know that I would end up needing a second one, and this one is a much bigger book, so I'll probably end up transferring them all, but I just wanted to give you a quick flip through of some of the bits and pieces that I have. And let me get a white sheet here so that we can get a proper look at some of these. There we go. I'm not going to show you every one of them, but you know, these are some of the things that I would have picked. This one actually came from my garden, as did these ones, but I think the rest of them are all from walking through my neighbourhood and just picking up little bits and pieces as I was going. So we have some beautiful specimens here. Some came out better than others, and I just do the usual, put them in between the pages of a book and leave them for a couple of weeks. I don't do the microwave thing. Maybe I will try that at some point if I'm in a particular rush for a particular type of flower or something like that. But generally speaking, I just put them into the middle of a book and leave them for a couple of weeks, and away we go. So that is some of those ones. There we go. And these are some nice ones here. Very pretty. And we have kind of more of the same in here, I think. These are vinca, or periwinkles. And as you can see, I went nuts picking bits and pieces. And a lot of these look like nothing. They're just growing on a wall. These ones were growing out of the crevices of a wall. The flowers themselves didn't come out very good there, but those tiny little leaves are adorable. So there we go, and like I said, not all of them came out perfect, but I will definitely get to use quite a lot of these. Those are beautiful. They actually came from my garden as well. That's a geranium. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so we are going to be doing something with those today, and I am going to show you one of the things. Well, I'm going to show you one using a printed sheet, and then we are going to actually decorate a plain sheet as well. Okay, so we're going to use this sheet first, and I am going to go off and get some stuff prepped, and I'll be right back to you guys. Okay, so I have gone ahead and I have cut a window in my page, and I have also laminated an arrangement of some of these flowers. There we go. And I have cut this oval the very same size as this one, so it fits inside it, see? Now, I'm laminating these ones, this one, and possibly a few other ones that I will be doing in the video, but I am also going to be trying to do it without laminating. And just a side note on laminating, I have decided that I will not buy any more laminating pouches. The ones that I have will last me quite a long time anyway, but when they run out, that's it. I won't be using them anymore. So I will be looking at using up packaging and things like that, and acetate and all that sort of stuff. And this is one of the pieces that we're going to try working with today. So anyway, on with this. So I have cut my laminated piece the same size as my window in my page. Now, the oval that I used to cut these was part of a set of nesting dies. And if you don't have nesting dies, I will be doing one without using dies shortly as well. And I have cut 2 frames from my nesting dies. Now, the sizing, I used 3 different sizes of die for this. So if we say that they are small, medium and large, I have used the medium one for the window and for the acetate piece, and then I have used the larger and smaller ones for the window, or for the frames. Okay, so we have 2 frames, and I just want to get these inked up very quickly. Okay, so there they are, all inked up, and I'm going to give them a little bit of gilding with some Inca Gold. Now, my Inca Gold had all dried up, but I went and tried to reconstitute it using glycerin and water, so we're going to see how that works. I'm actually going to use the stuff that's on the lid here at the moment. That is very watery, but for these purposes it won't matter. Now I'm going to go around the edge, the outside edge and the inside edge, and leave kind of the center of it plain, just to kind of give the impression that it's been worn down. Okay, so I have those gilded up. Don't know if you can see that very well on the camera, but I've just kept it quite loose, quite messy, just keeping it very simple. Now at the back of these, I actually used a Coca-Cola box for this. So I'm going to try to peel just the top layer off of this because I don't want that red showing. Let's see how easy this will be. Okay, so quite easy once you get it started, but it's after taking away quite a lot of the bulk there. We'll see how that works out. Let's get the other one done. Okay, I'm going to rethink that process. I think I will do the peeling before I actually cut them in future. And I'm actually going to leave this one and just hope that it doesn't come through. I did check it before I came back to you guys, and it does seem like it should be okay, so fingers crossed. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I am going to get this laid down here. I'm going to get my little glue bottle. I finally got myself one of these glue bottles, and it is the best thing I've ever done. Love it. I have terrible trouble with the Aleene's tacky glue, getting it out of the bottle. This makes it so much easier. So I'm going to get my glue around the outside edge of this. In fact, I'll probably get it all over, but definitely on the outside edge. We want to make sure we have enough glue on that edge. Okay, so that is that one. Now I'm going to lay my frame on the table, and I'm going to try to get this as centered as possible, and I can move it a little bit, so I'm not overly worried if it doesn't go down perfectly. There we go. That is in place. Now I have my glue on there already, so I'm going to go straight ahead and put down my acetate piece. Just worried about the arrangement and things like that. I just simply opened my acetate sheet. I arranged my flowers according to the smaller die, because it's the smaller opening in the frame is where we're going to see the flowers. So I made sure to use the smaller frame as my guide to where to place the flowers. Okay, so I'm going to turn this backwards with the back of the flowers to me. Now if you want the front of the flowers coming this way, obviously you would put the front of the flowers this way, but I want the back of them facing here. I'm going to lay that into place. Now because my glue has been sitting for a couple of moments, it's not terribly runny, so I'm okay to go and press on that, but I am at the same time smoothing it away from the center of the frame. Okay, just a tip for you guys when you're using acetate or anything like that. or laminate I should say, or acetate, but just to smooth the glues away from the center of your piece. Okay, so that's what we have at the moment, and doesn't that look awesome? I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So to finish this off, we're going to get our other frame, and we're going to get our glue on there. There we go. I'm going to try and get this as centered with that other frame as I can, so that we have none of that Coca-Cola red peeping through. Get that pressed down into place. And voila! We have a PP window page with a PP Botanical window page. Isn't that so cute? I love that. That is awesome. Very autumn colours I chose today for some reason. And that's it on the back. Love, love, love that. Okay, so let's do one with no dies. Okay, so I'm really enjoying this page right now, so let's use that one. And these pages, I think all the printed pages I'm using today came from a Tracy Fox kit. I'm sure it was Eclectica. It was definitely a collaboration with Andrea over at Artimaze. And if I find, I will find the link, and I will link that below for you guys. Okay, so we have our page sorted. Now, the next thing I want to do is get my flowers sorted. So I'm going to take, and I will run through this one with you guys. So I'm going to take my sheet, and now let's decide where we actually want this. Now I'm going to be folding this into a page, and I might actually do a double one. Let's see. You could actually use a hole punch for this as well, by the way, or a circle punch, or any one of your punches. I don't have one that's quite big enough, so I am going to cut a square. I'm going to cut a square from this corner, and I think I'm actually going to go through both layers on this. We're going to do it on either side. When this goes into a signature, there'll be other pages in between, but we'll have our two little pieces here. Now I do have some dies up here. Now even though I have these dies, I'm not going to be using them. So I think that would make a great size for an opening, but we have to consider the frame as well. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe the frame that size, and our window this size, the inner part of this. Yes, I like that. Okay, so I'm just going to use these dies as a guide measurement. I'm not cutting with them. So I want my window to be about 1 3/4. Just going to take a ruler and measure that. It's a little less than 1 3/4, so I'm going to go with the 1 3/4 on that. And that was just a way for me to get a visual. You know, you can kind of just frame it yourself with pieces of paper or post-it notes. So I'm going to use the 1 1/4. I'm going to turn my page backwards so that I can get a clear idea of what I'm doing here. And we're going to measure. Now we need to keep in mind that we are going to be putting a frame here. I need a pencil. So we need to make sure that we're leaving enough space for our frame. Now if I have my frame ending here, we want to leave enough on the corner as well, you know. Always with windows, you want to make sure that you're leaving enough space around the actual cut, that it's not going to affect the integrity of your page or your piece. Okay, so if I want my frame to end here, and I have my window here. Okay, so let's have our window starting there, and I'm just going to draw across the 1 1/2 inches, 1 3/4 inches, sorry. And I'm going to bring it down 1 3/4. Now obviously you can make this any size or shape that you want. You can use your nesting dies for it. You can use an ordinary die and cut one of the pieces and go by that for the rest of the pieces. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is just cut out our square. Now, you can do this with scissors, and you can do one at a time. Me being me, I'm going to try to do it 2 of them at a time with my craft knife. Okay, so that worked out lovely. So let's get our little floral arrangements done here. Just as an aside, I took out some of my floral die cuts as well, just to show you guys that you can actually do those as well. In the same manner, anywhere that we're using the pressed flowers, you could use your die cut flowers as well. But we are using the pressed ones today. Now, let's see what we have that will fit nicely in here. I do have, now of course we're going to need 2 arrangements here. That one, slightly too big. And we will have the frame coming over the window slightly, so maybe not that one. Love the purples, but do I want purples in this one? It would certainly lift this, wouldn't it? It would add a little colour. Let's see. Have some nice yellows there too. Thinking I might end up with just those 2 on their own. I think that's very pretty. Okay, so let's do those 2 on their own, and let's figure out what we want to do on the other side. Maybe something like this. Oh yes, isn't that so pretty? Because we're using such a small window, I think just 1 flower on its own would be enough. Yeah, I think that and those 2. Okay, now, so as I was saying about the one that we just did a minute ago, when I'm arranging my flowers in here, I'm very conscious of the fact that I am going to be cutting my frame smaller than my window. So we need to keep them in a good bit. So we need to arrange them where we think they're going to stay. So I think that would make a nice little arrangement. So let's get that into our laminating pouch, just as they are if possible. And also keeping in mind when you're placing them on your laminating pouch to leave enough space around them that you can cut the window to the same size as this, okay? And of course the other one that we're using, I'm just using a single flower. Now I should, and I am going to laminate something else down here just so that I'm not wasting that space. So let's get this into our laminating machine. I'm not even using a carrier sheet today, I'm just putting the pouch straight in. Okay, so I'm going to place my little flowers behind my window, just mark where I need to cut. Now to mark where I need to cut, you can use like a Sharpie or something like that. I just tend to use something to scrape or to scratch into it. Let's get that cut out. Okay, so that fits nicely in there. It's actually a little small, but that's okay. Our frame will help with that. Now I'm using the same kind of card as the last time, so I'm going to try peeling this first before we cut it. Oh, look at that. That's a much easier way to do it. So if you are using something like this and you want to take the top layer off, do it before you cut into it. So we need our frame. We know that our window is 1 3/4 inches, okay? So our frame needs to be, the inner part of our frame needs to be slightly smaller. So I'm actually going to draw this. Now we're going to need 2 of these as well, so just keep that in mind. Just going to draw it, it might actually make it easier for me to keep it all straight and all the rest of it. Okay, so we need a scooch smaller. I'm doing this by eye. That's probably 1/8 of an inch, guys. Okay. Let's get that down. And the same on the other side, about 1/8 of an inch again on all 4 sides of that square. Actually, drawing that window, drawing around that window made this so much easier, I have to say. Okay, so we know our window is going to stop here, so we're going to go about 1/8 of an inch outside as well. Now, you can make your window whatever size you want. You can make it a lot thicker than mine if you want. I'm just really enjoying the narrower ones at the moment, and I have made thicker ones before, and they can look really good as well. So I am going to cut the center of this first, because I think that will be easier. Okay, and for the outside part, I'm just going to cut it with scissors. Okay, let's check the sizing of that. So for this one, I think that may be slightly small. Okay, we could go a little bit bigger. It would fit nicely on the actual acetate piece, the laminate piece, but I'm not convinced that there's enough holding it to the actual page. Yeah, maybe just a scooch larger. So I am going to make a second one of these. I'm actually going to make 2 more, and I'm going to make them slightly larger than that. Okay, so we have our 2 frames, and they do seem to be better sized. I think I feel a lot more confident now with how they will work on there. Okay, so we have our window and our frames all ready to go. I'm not gilding on these ones, I don't think. Let me see. Nope, I'm going to leave them as is. Now, obviously, you can do your frames as fancy or as plain as you like. I'm just loving using this kind of cardboard at the moment. I'm using it everywhere. I love it. It just has that old world feel to me. So I'm leaving these ones plain. So let's get our first frame situated. Get our glue on. Get our frame situated nicely as possible. Voila. And our flower. Again, I'm putting the front side down. And let's get our other frame down. Get that into place. And voila! That looks all sorts of pretty. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so I have gone ahead and I've gotten the second one of these flowers down. I'll just put a page behind that so you guys can see. Like so. And if we look at the other side, looks like that. I think those are absolutely gorgeous. So pretty. So happy with that. Okay, so I had actually started the next part of what we're doing and forgot to hit record. So I have gone on a little bit ahead, but I'm going to talk you through everything that I've done. All very simple things. I have also gone ahead and cut some frames. I'm using these decal edge dies to cut them, just for ease of doing the video, but you can always cut them by hand like we did for the last one. So I've cut my 2 frames and I'm now working on our flower piece. So I've decided with these 2 flowers that I want the 2 of these in there. This is that little cellophane bag. I've just cut a piece off of the top and I've opened it down the side because we're going to be opening it anyway. Now this is something that I haven't done before, using these cellophane bags, so this is all new to me. Now I'm just going to put a sheet of paper behind there so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm just making sure that I get that framed correctly, okay? Now, how are we going to get those to stay in place? This is the thing. With laminate, it's very easy. The two sheets will stick together. This one, not so much. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm noting here that I'm about a 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom of the bag, okay? And I'm going to put tiny, tiny dots of glue. Now, we know that our tacky glues dry clear, so I'm just going to put some tiny dots of glue along here. And I just want this to be enough to hold it in place, really. So let's get our tweezers. And we can try and get this into place without smearing the glue too much. So I'm going to turn it over. Now, like I said, we were about 1/4 of an inch away from the bottom, so let's try and get it there. And just get that down like so. I'm going to do the same thing with our little lavender flower here. Just checking that positioning again with the frame. So I want it there, so I'm just noting that it's slightly up from the bottom of this one and it overlaps up here, okay? So I'm going to turn that over. I'm going to get some glue on here. I'm curious to see how this will look. Will the glue dry enough, clear enough that it looks okay? And I think it will. Now I have a little petal down here. I'm going to leave it. Let's see. Yeah, I quite like that. Now, do I leave that dry or do I start cutting straight away? Herein lies the issues with this method. Like I said, new to me. Okay, so I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to mark where I need to cut this. Okay, let's try cutting. Of course, we could have gone ahead and cut it with our die, but I think it would be too fiddly. Just need to make sure that it is inside our frame and our smaller die, because the smaller die is what we're going to be cutting our window with. Or our middle die, my apologies, middle die. Oh, that will just work. Okay, so I'm going to, this top piece has come away. I expected that. This seems to have stuck quite well and the glue doesn't seem very apparent, so I'm going to actually put another few dots of glue on the fronts of these and get that other sheet of cellophane into place. We have our frames and we have our window. Now I have discovered that my cellophane piece isn't going to be big enough. If I cut my window with this die, my cellophane piece isn't going to be big enough, and that's my own fault. I just didn't cut it big enough. So when you are doing this, make sure that you cut it big enough. Don't just go by the frames, you need to go by your window in the page as well. This window is midway between these two, so I could have gone all the way to the edge of this piece and probably should have in order to catch that. So yeah, make sure you go by this and not, or make sure you go by the middle die and not the frame. But I'm going to forge on and I'm going to use it anyway. All I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my window in my page just by hand. I am possibly going to put a little bit of glue on the very edges of that as well, just for ease of working with it when we're sandwiching it in between those frames. So right on the very edge here, I know that's going to be hidden with the frame, so I'm just going to get some glue down there. And I'm just going to do the two sides. I'm not going to bother doing the top and bottom. I don't think there's any need. Okay, so that's that. Now our window is going to need to be slightly inside this. So I'm going to put this down. And of course we could have this in the center. Let me see. Do I want it in the middle? Because that would make a nice little focal point on that page. I would probably grunge it up a little bit more around the edges if we put it in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to put it there. So I'm going to position my frame. Again, I'm going to take my pencil. I'm going to just, and I'm doing this quite lightly so that I'll be able to rub it out again. So I know that I need to, in fact actually I won't need to because I'll be cutting inside it. I need to cut inside this a bit. So I'm just going to pencil some marks for myself. This doesn't have to be perfect because we know that it is going to be hidden. Okay, let's check our piece. If we cut our window that wide, will we have enough to work with? Yep, we should do. Okay, so get our scissors. I'm just going to put a little hole in there like that. And I'm going to use the smaller scissors. Now we'll cut our frame. Let's see how we're doing here. Yes. And yes. Okay, so let's get our frame down. Let's get this decorated up, or at least inked up. And on the other one of these, I am going to do some gilding. Simply because this page is a little busy, I just want a little bit more pizzazz going on with the frame itself. Okay, so there we have our two frames ready to go. So let's get this one in place. Also guys, I should have mentioned at the start of the video that I will be doing, at the end of this video, I will be doing the drawing for the June journals, giveaway journals, the Gemini journals. So if you are interested in that, do stick around till the end. And again, we have a very cute window page. I'm loving those guys, really loving those. Awesome sauce. I'm sorry about my coffee. I didn't realise that was there in the way. Huh. Got delivered to me a couple of minutes ago. Okay. So there we have our three window pages. We have a large one, a very small one, and a medium-sized one, using kind of different techniques on all three, but all using those beautiful, beautiful pressed flowers that I gathered on my walk around the neighbourhood. Okay, so that's those. Now, the next thing we need to do is do our draw for the Gemini journals. Okay, so as I've said, we have two journals this month because it was my birthday month. And we're going to do the drawing for those right now. I have my list of entrants here beside me. And let's get our number generator on the phone. Okay, so we have our random number generator. I'm going to key in 55 entrants and I'm going to hit generate. Our first number is 52. And that is Alice Cabral. Alice, you won the Flow Journal and now you've won the large Gemini Journal. So congratulations and well done. Alice is always here with me on my channel, so that is awesome. So for the smaller notebook style, let's see who's got that. Number 2 is Buffy. Buffy from Cherish Mementos. Buffy, I'm so chuffed that you got that. That's awesome. Buffy is another one who's always here commenting on my channel. So I do like to see my regular subscribers and commenters getting these journals. It's a nice way for me to give back something, you know. Okay, so that is those. So guys, do get in contact with me, you guys, and I'll get these sent out to you. Awesome sauce. Okay, so that is it for me for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you will give our window pages a try for yourselves, because they are absolutely very pretty. And I will talk to you all very, very soon. Bye.